Here come the light. Good morning, everyone. Is everyone here? Do you feel like you're here? Maybe a hectic week or something. Make sure you're grounded right in this space. This is your spiritual center. This is your sacred space. And this is your time to be renewed and recharged and to remember who you are. There is more light shining in the world today than ever before. We can talk about light in many different ways. The light of understanding. The light of knowledge is shining brighter today in the world than ever before. Every day, new discoveries, new inventions. More and more we're learning about the universe we live in and the life that we live. Around the world, there are more opportunities for education for more and more people, regardless of gender or skin color. The light of understanding, the light of knowledge. Said it another way about light, we could say things are brought to light more today than ever before. 100 years ago, we wouldn't have known about many of the events going on around the world that we now know of. 20 years ago, we wouldn't have heard of them quite as quickly. Talking about light in a different way, we're able to see things in a different light today, better than ever before. Thanks to video and surveillance cameras and instant replay and being able to search a worldwide database of information. We have the opportunity, if we choose to, we can look at things in a different light and see all the different perspectives, all the different angles. We can turn it around and see the different facets of a situation or an event, if we so choose. We can talk about light in a lot of different ways. There is more, I guess you would call it physical light in the world today. Just a couple weeks ago, we were coming back from Phoenix on I-8, and it was getting dark, and coming up over Telegraph Pass and looking down at the lights of our city, spreading all across the land. Kathy and I both commented how every year, more and more light spreading across the desert there. More and more light is beginning to cover the world in many different ways. There's more light in the world today than ever before. Now, I know that there's a lot of people who want to believe and want to talk about and want to perpetuate the idea of quote-unquote darkness. And if you turn on the news, it definitely looks like or sounds like that darkness is overpowering the light. But we know that darkness can never overpower the light. That one simple, single candle can enlighten an entire room. So we place our faith in the light. We lift our consciousness to, we lift our faith to a higher consciousness. We lift our faith to not looking at the visible or the physical, but faith in the things of spirit. Real things with a capital R. We dwell in the realm of the real. We think thoughts of light. We live in the light. Charles Fillmore said, "Those who are in spiritual understanding know that faith has open eyes." These past few weeks have been very busy for me, maybe for you too. And every night when I go to bed, as soon as my head hits the pillow, I'm out like a light. And in the morning, I'm just not ready to get out of bed. Of course, Kathy, just as sweet as can be and cheerful. And good morning. Time to rise and shine. It's a brand new, beautiful day. Can I pull the curtains back? And I'm thinking to myself, oh, I really wish you wouldn't. But she slowly begins to pull the curtains back, and I quickly put the covers over my head and put the pillow over my eyes because I'm not ready for the light. It takes a while for me to become acclimated to the light. And for people who have been living in a kind of darkness, they're surrounded by the darkness, they're concentrating on the darkness, they're absorbed by this darkness, it takes a while for them to become acclimated to the light. And as you shine your light, and as I shine my light, their eyes begin to open, and they become acclimated to the light. As Charles Fillmore said, we've gained spiritual understanding, and we realize that faith has open eyes. We're acclimated to the light. Well, this morning I want to talk to you about people who had an open eyes faith, people who had a great faith in God, the light, and because of that great faith, a miracle of light occurred for them. On Tuesday, the Festival of Lights, also known as Hanukkah, begins. That word Hanukkah means dedication. And this holiday, an 8-day holiday, commemorates a time when the Jewish people actually rededicated their temple. And this happened back in the year 165 BC. Can you even wrap your mind around 165 BC? So that was about what? 2,107, about 2,200 years ago. Can you imagine living back at that time? Not a whole lot of light back then. But as the story goes, back 2,200 years ago, the Jewish people took their temple back, regained control of Jerusalem from the Syrians. Now, Syria was a much different place. Today, they adhere to Islam. 2,200 years ago, Syria was a part of what we could call the Greek Empire. They were Greek. They worshiped many gods and goddesses like Zeus and Poseidon and those guys. Much different. So, according to Jewish beliefs, their temple had been spiritually defiled because it had been used to worship many gods and goddesses, and also because it had been used for the practice of sacrificing swine. So, the Jewish revolutionaries wanted to rededicate their temple and restore its ritual purity. And they had a process, a ritual for doing this. It lasted 8 days, and it involved lighting the menorah for a full 8 days. You're familiar with the menorah, kind of a candelabra-looking type thing. The thing is, after the ravages of war, they realized that they only had one single container of lamp oil. That was only enough for 1 day. 8-day purification ceremony. Only 1 day of oil. So they said, oh well, might as well give up. Forget about it. 1 container of oil, 8-day purification ritual. It's not going to work. We're just going to have to put up with this defiled temple. I don't like it, but that's just the way life is. Well, first of all, that's not the way life is. And second of all, I just made that up. They didn't really say that. What really happened is that they lit the menorah anyway. And miraculously, that one single container of lamp oil lit the menorah for a full 8 days. They lit the menorah anyway. They proceeded with an 8-day purification ritual, even though what they saw, what they had in their hands, what seemed to be so real, was not enough. How many times have you come upon a situation in your life and you thought you didn't have enough, and so you gave up? I'd like to do that benefit walk, but I don't have enough energy. I'd like to lose the weight, but I don't have enough willpower. I'd like to learn a new subject, but I don't have enough time. I don't have enough mental clarity. You know, sometimes we become overwhelmed by things, but why not light a candle of faith anyway? Light that candle, and maybe a miracle will occur. Sometimes we think the odds are against us. Like, all I have is enough money for my daily bills. Why even try to save money for a down payment on a car or a house? I don't have enough education for this job, they'll never hire me. But rather than buying into that old saying, the odds are against me, why not affirm God is for me? Why not light that candle of faith, and maybe a miracle will occur? They lit the menorah anyway, and by lighting the menorah, they held to the highest, purest thought. They held allegiance to the good. Their desire was for a good thing. They wanted the purification, the sanctification of their sacred space. And in the same way, when we hold to the highest, purest thought, with the best intentions for ourselves and for all those around us, when we have a desire for good and only good, and we firmly hold to the knowledge that God is good and always good, and consistently affirm that God is for us, that's when the miracles begin to occur. So they lit the menorah. Can you imagine being in that place and being there for those 8 days? How thrilling that would have been to see that small amount of oil every day begin to burn. Your faith would have to grow stronger and stronger every day. 8 days of faith, 8 days of anticipation, 8 days of wonder and amazement and excitement and exuberance. Well, this lamp that I'm talking about, this menorah, it's a very interesting object. And there are 3 things about it that I feel that we can apply to our lives and help us to live a greater faith. The first thing about the menorah is that the menorah is a sacred vessel. Since we're made in the image and likeness of the divine, it could be said that we are sacred vessels. Since there's only one infinite mind, and all thoughts come from that one infinite mind, our minds hold the thoughts of God. Our minds are like containers for this vibrational energy called thought. It could be said that our minds are sacred vessels. Since there's only one life, one universal heartbeat, our souls are filled with a dynamic vibrational energy called unconditional love. It could be said that our hearts are sacred vessels. Since there's only one invisible energy from which all things are made, our bodies are made of divine energy. It could be said that our bodies are sacred vessels. Charles Fillmore, in his book Dynamics for Living, wrote, "We are the temples of God, of good. Through us is the light to shine, which is so bright as to dim the rays of those shining orbs of the night and day. The light shining through us is brighter than even the sun and the moon and the stars." So the menorah is a sacred vessel. The second thing that this leads me to is that according to the Hebrew Bible, the Torah, God gave specific instructions to Moses as to how the menorah was to be made. It was to be made of 100% pure, solid gold. And many Jewish teachers and rabbis and scholars deduced that this symbolized that we should strive for solid gold in our motives and our behavior. So our shining character traits on the inside would reflect our holy actions on the outside, and vice versa. Golden on the inside, golden on the outside. So let me ask you this morning, are your thoughts golden? Are your feelings and emotions golden? As a sacred vessel, is your body golden, emanating that divine light? The third thing about the menorah is that only fresh, pure, consecrated olive oil was to be used in the menorah, of the highest quality. So this gives us a lot to meditate on this week. As sacred vessels, since our minds are sacred vessels, are your thoughts fresh and pure and consecrated? Since your heart is a sacred vessel, are you filling it with emotions and feelings that are pure and of the highest quality? And since your body is a sacred vessel, are you treating it as the temple of God that it really is? Olive oil is an amazing thing. I put some on my skin just this morning. Olive oil back in ancient times was used as a healing ointment. It was also used to dedicate the spiritual leaders and the priests. Olive oil was a symbol of prosperity. And, of course, olive oil was used as lamp oil and for food and as cleansing soaps. Isn't that amazing? Sustenance, light, healing, and cleansing. Doesn't that sound good? Sustenance, light, healing, and cleansing. Wouldn't you like to have more of that in your life? Sustenance, light, healing, and cleansing. Well, as many people around the world will begin to celebrate Hanukkah, I want to challenge you to rededicate your mind and your heart and your body to shining internally and externally by doing your own 8-day purification ritual. And here's how it goes. Every day for the next 8 days, light a candle. And as you do, speak a blessing of thanks, a blessing of affirmation, and a blessing of commitment. So every day in your quiet time, just take some time set apart and light a candle, whether it's figuratively or literally. And as you do, speak a word of thanks. Thank you for whatever it is you're thankful for that day. And then speak a word of affirmation. So begin your sentence with I know or I affirm. And then thirdly, speak a word of commitment. I commit today to whatever it is you're ready to commit to. So as we celebrate the season of illumination, and as on Tuesday the Festival of Lights begins, may you become more aware of the light that's within you. May you be blessed for the light that you shine. And may your life be filled with many, many, many miracles of light. And so it is.